A Day with Caleb. Welcome back to another episode or incarnation of Biographies, where we break down one person's kind of life and their accomplishments, mostly dealing with actors. We might throw in some other people maybe that aren't actors out there. Some are more than actors, multi-talented, like this one here, Lon Chaney, who we all know now as Lon Chaney Sr. He would have a son, Lon Chaney Jr. Both pretty successful. Maybe his son not as successful as him, but we'll dive into the life of Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. The man of 1,000 faces, Leonidas Frank Lon Chaney, born April 1st, 1883 in Colorado, died August 26, 1930. He was an actor, director, screenwriter, makeup artist. He was a versatile actor, not only could emote in silent films, but he also did his own makeup and prosthetics. He could contort and put his body through torture to achieve various characters in films. He transformed his face and body, which later earned him the title the Man of 1,000 Faces. He would never teach his makeup techniques to anyone, not even his son, Lon Chaney Jr., as we see here, who would, after his dad's death, become a horror icon himself. Probably his most famous role here being the Wolfman, but he couldn't do any of his own makeup.
Particularly, these are young people who have never seen your father, and they want to know how he achieved that perfection in mimicry and pantomime.
Well, pantomime to my father was just like ABC. You see, actually, Art, my dad learned his ABCs in pantomime. Now, don't get excited. The reason for that is that he was born of deaf-mute parents. And therefore, he learned his A, B, C's. That way. But of course, like children always are, he had to learn words before he could learn his ABCs. So naturally, his parents taught him signs for words that would be fitting to a situation. Now, for instance, I imagine probably the first word they ever taught him was love, because they had much in their heart. And the sign for love is love.
Over the heart.
Now, probably because it's just the opposite, I will call your attention to the sign of hate. 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 Hate.
Lon Chaney's parents were both deaf, so he could mime and use his body to communicate without speaking, which would come in handy in the silent film era. He would do various character and supporting parts in Universal Studios. His makeup skills set him apart in a competitive market. He befriended husband-wife director team Joe DeGrassi and Ida Mae Park, who gave him many parts in films. He was a prominent actor for the studio, but not getting paid like an A-lister. He went off and did a substantial role, so Universal would offer him an A-plus actor role. They would team him up with Dorothy Phillips and William Stoll. The three would play lover, villain, and the other man. They did 14 films together. 1917 to 1919. The Miracle Man put Chaney on the map in 1919 as an actor and for his makeup abilities. In 1923, he would play one of the most famous roles, probably one he's known for the most, and that is Quasimodo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He would wear a back hump that weighed 15 to 20 pounds and pulled his eyes and face to embody Quasimodo. Because they didn't want to scare people, so the reveal, which we'll see here in a second, was so scary for most. He again put his face and body through agony with wires and different makeup techniques, which made for the most horrifying reveal, maybe in cinema. But that is to be determined. I'm sure a lot of people in the silent era freaked out over this iconic image.
Here. He would then place his bent up legs with the pants inside these leather stumps. The stumps would then be attached with this buckle with a belt around his waist. The upper portion of the chest, this vest also was oversized. He also wore a padded piece on his chest and then put the vest on to give a more fuller appearance on the chest. And then the coat, which again is oversized, and in the back has a much more wider swoop to help hide his bent up feet in the back.
On the level? Do you really want me back?
Sure.
Oh, Rosie. Gee, that's swell.
We're safe.
In 1927, he filmed London After Midnight, which was lost. It was later painstakingly put together through stills of film, but not the same of at the actual film. It was basically just a compilation of pictures with no movement. With the addition of sound, like we heard in this clip from the Unholy Three, he had done these silent films, which later would be filmed again with sound, which is cool. In 1929, he was filming this film here, Thunder, in the winter, and developed pneumonia. In late 29, he was diagnosed with bronchial lung cancer, which was exasperated when snow from the filming was lodged in his throat, which gave him an infection, and that worsened over time. He later, the next year, would die on a throat hemorrhage in 1930. The famous horror director Todd Browning would attend the funeral of Lon Chaney. He worked with Lon on 10 films. In 1957, James Cagney would portray Lon in a biopic movie titled The Man of a Thousand Faces. And Lon Chaney is also a great actor. Maybe later on in the series we can dive into his career, and it's cool that they intertwine like that. But this is also a fantastic film, just kind of encompassing everything about Lon Chaney. In 2000, there was a documentary with the same name, of course, as mentioned, The Man of a Thousand Faces. uh, produced by silent film historian Kevin Brownlow and narrated by director and actor Kevin Branagh, which I love most, if not all, of his films. Chaney has a star on the Walk of Fame. He, along with his son, would be Stamps, Lon being the Phantom, Junior being the Wolfman. His makeup case was donated to the museum to study and glean some knowledge on how he was so good at transforming his face. 102 of the 157 films that Lon Chaney did throughout his career are credited, are kind of classified as lost films. Maybe some that aren't lost, they have like extreme wear on the film because they used kind of a combustible film back then with the silent films, and it tends to like shrink and corrode and different things. So it's unfortunate that most, if not, well, not all, but most of Lon's kind of filmography is lost to time, and that's a shame because we won't see some of the great works he did as an actor and the directors that helped him bring that to life along with his supporting cast. So, and in this set actually we do have a lost film also, and that is where'd it go? London After Midnight. That is a lost film, but they painstakingly took the photos or the still image that they shot with the film. I guess someone took a shot like every millisecond, so it lines up to kind of give you a rough idea of what the film was. Obviously, there's no sound, there's no movement. Of course, back in the silent day, it didn't matter with sound, but no movement, you can't see him walking about. It's kind of frame by frame, which is interesting. If you have this set, go check that out. It is an interesting look at to what that film might be, and maybe that image of him would resonate if it had not been lost. We all know the Phantom, the Hunchback, but that character could have been kind of put out there too. I mean, it is put out there, but kind of more obscure because the film is lost, which is a shame. But Lon Chaney, great actor, great special effects and makeup artist. Without him, who knows, maybe we wouldn't have this lineup. We at least wouldn't have Wolfman because he birthed Lon Chaney Jr. So, interesting dive into this man. I hope you enjoyed the journey. Like, subscribe, share with a Lon Chaney fan. Maybe a Universal Monsters fan, huh? Dark Universe, that's looking pretty cool. Hopefully they make that ride, because 2 or 3 times now they've said they're going to make a ride. But anyway, that's another video. Until next time, guys, keep collecting.